I'm just going to make this very quick because really there isn't that much that needs to be said. But I'm going to say this and then I'm going to be done. Joe Biden, as a white man, doesn't know what is better for black folk than other black folk. He doesn't. Joe Biden, as a white man, doesn't know better than black people what politician is better for black folk. And if he feels that he does, then he is even more racist and disgusting than I thought. Joe Biden recently came out and said that you ain't really black if you don't know who to vote for in 2020. He didn't even say necessarily, he literally said if you don't know. He didn't even say if you vote for Trump, you ain't really black. I mean, that would be bad enough. I mean, and I'm an independent. I'm not Republican or Democrat. But he's saying if you don't know who to vote for, out of all the people running, not just the Democrats or the Republicans, but the Greens, the Libertarians, the Peace and Freedom, all of them, if you as a black man don't know who to vote for, you ain't really black. That is Joe Biden as a white person saying, I know what is better for black folk than black people themselves. That's really basically the type of thinking that got the whole slavery started, because black folk aren't really humans. They're not. They're less than humans. They're animals. They don't know what's good for them. Only we know what's good for them. It's what brought about Kipling's version of the white man's burden. If anyone in school ever heard of that, basically the white man's burden is to civilize the dark man, the negro, is civilize him. He's not civilized. We know what's better, so he needs to support us. He can't live without us. That's Joe Biden's thinking. He doesn't know anything about what I, as a black person, is good for me. He doesn't know. And he would never know, even if he was black. You know why? Joe Biden was against busing back in the 70s. When the government was forcing school districts to allow black people to get onto the bus and go to white schools, or formerly white schools. Joe Biden was against that. Dead against that. If Joe Biden had his way, black folks would not be allowed, or not be picked up in their neighborhood to go to school. If Joe Biden had his way, black folk would probably still be forced to sit in the back of the bus. Joe Biden was against busing. Joe Biden supported the 1994 crime bill, which put more black people in prison for non-violent, victimless crimes than any other piece of legislation since Jim Crow. Joe Biden supported it 100%. 100%. He was lock, stock, and barrel with that. And now he is saying that if I don't vote for him, I'm not really black? How does this, I won't even say it, but how does this lily white, Irish descended, white haired white man come up here and say that I, as a black person, should vote for him because he knows what's best for me. And if I don't vote for him, I'm not really black. How the hell does he get away with saying that? And why aren't more black folks standing up against this? Is the slavery mentality still in you? Are you that pathetic that you really honestly believe that what this man is saying is something that he can get away with? I mean, let's put this into perspective. He probably feels that because he was the vice president of Obama, who's not really black but mixed, and in his heart is probably more white than black. I mean, he was raised by white folk, white mother, his white grandparents who were extremely racist, who didn't like the fact that his mother, Stanley Ann, had a child with a black man, and they begrudgingly raised this little old nappy-head black boy. They begrudgingly did it. That's what they thought of him. Because he was Obama's vice president. Black folks should just automatically go for him. Because he knows what's best. When Obama was president, more black people were on food stamps. When Obama was president, more blacks were unemployed. Now, Trump being president, and I'm not saying Trump, I'm not a Republican, but I'm just saying Trump was president. More black people have been employed than at any other president. More blacks off of welfare, more blacks off of food stamps. This is all about control. The left is people who are on the left are control freaks. That's why it's mostly leftist individuals who are so resistant to reopening the lockdown, ending the lockdown. I mean, just think of it. I mean, people on the right, and I'm independent, but most people on the right, they say, this thing is dangerous, Corona is dangerous and everything, but let's do this in a safe way. Let's at least start thinking about ways to open up in a safe way. The left is saying, no. Let's keep people in their homes. Let's keep people locked down. Let's keep giving people government money so that they can be dependent on us. Let them continue to keep ordering junk food off of the internet and get fat and big and unhealthy, and maybe we can also control their health as well. Let's keep them controlled, and then we'll force them to get vaccines after that. The left is all about control. So what Joe Biden is saying is that if you don't support the Democrats, which will not give you jobs or anything, but will give you welfare, give you food stamps, keep you there dependent forever, you're not really black. He's saying you're not really a slave. You're not really a slave if you don't vote for me. You are not really a good Negro. You're not being a good Negro. That's what Joe Biden is saying. You are not being a good Negro if you don't vote for me. You're not being a good Negro. Joe Biden is saying that the commander-in-chief of Arana Nation is not a good Negro. He's a bad Negro, and he's right. I am a bad Negro. I do what I want. I'm a free Negro. I ain't your Negro. I am a Negro. I'm a proud Negro. I'm just not Joe Biden's Negro, and I never will be. I'm nobody's Negro. I'm God's Negro. And that's all it is to it. Joe Biden wants me to be his Negro, and I ain't going to be. And this has been going on in the Democrat Party since the 60s, when Lyndon Johnson, apparently, according to a black employee of his, said to another politician, Lyndon said, I will have them niggers voting for me for the next 300 years. And it looks like he succeeded. He allowed more black women to get abortions easier. He allowed more black people to be stuck on the welfare system with no way to get out, get more food stamps, council houses, all that stuff. It's all about control. They lost their control with slavery, so they found a new way to control them with money. Before Lyndon Johnson, most black people were more independent. In fact, before even the 40s, most blacks voted for the Republicans because the Republicans gave them their freedom, which the Democrats were trying their best to keep from them. The Democrats were the pro-slavery party. The Republicans had to come in and free them. The Republicans are always about freedom, for the most part. I'm not saying the Republicans are perfect. In fact, many of them, they need to start finding ways to start appealing to black folks. They don't. They really don't. They usually only want to appeal to big business or, Zionists, Israel, those things. They don't know how to appeal to black people. And not by giving them money, but by giving them education, giving them economic independence. Now the Democrats are controlling the blacks with money, not by forcing them to pick cotton. And then Joe Biden now sees black folks getting employed because of Trump and getting off of the system because of Trump. And he says, hey, we're losing our freedom here. We're losing our freedom here. Look at all these former good Negroes now coming off the plantation like this. We can't have this. And then you'll get the old Negroes, as I call them, the foo-foo jigaboos or the pinch-nosed Negroes, who will come out and say the exact same thing. You ain't really black if you don't go for Joe Biden. Those are what I call the Uncle Toms. It's just like a slave system. The liberal plantation is just like any other plantation. You got Joe Master Joe. Then you've got Maxine Waters as the indoor Negro who has been permitted to stay indoors. The indoor Negro, the good Negro, who will parrot the same thing Joe Biden says. You vote for him or you're not really black. Or Kamala Harris Perry or maybe even Juan Williams or one of those black people. They're the indoor Negroes. And then you got the field Negroes, who are the rest of y'all. Not me, I'm not even on this plantation. That's what he's saying. Joe Biden is saying, if you don't support me, you're not really black. I know what's best for you more than you. The white man's burden. Now, my question to you is, are you going to allow him to think this way? To continue to think this way? Which you probably will. You probably will. That's why it took almost 300 years to end slavery. But you can be like me, independent, rebel to the core, and you can say, to hell with Joe Biden. You can kiss my ass and jump in the nearest hell. This is the Arana Nation.